Hey guys, I'm Dov, and today I'm back with more Total War Warhammer 2 multiplayer action. We're here today with the Greenskins. They're going to be taking on the Warriors of Chaos here at the Golden Monolith. Let's have a look at the builds. We've got GRIM-GOO Ironhide leading the way, along with a Night Goblin Shaman Lieutenant, Trolls, Savage Orc Arrow Boys, and Broken Tusk Mob, along with, Savage Orcs up front, and Goblins. We've got Hammer of Gork. Going to be debuffing the stats of these Chaos troops. Over here we've got Chosen with Halberds, backed up by 3 Shielded Chosen, so a very heavy infantry force. Chaos Marauders. Let's see, Exalted Hero, Kolek, and another Exalted Hero, so no caster for the Forces of Chaos. Kolek probably ate his mage, so that's fine. As far as the build goes, obviously you always want to have a caster, and an easy way you could potentially fix that in this build is just to not take these Chosen with Halberds. I don't think there's any place for these guys in this matchup. Even the Chosen with Shields is a little bit of a risky play here because Black Orcs will chew them apart. Whoops, smack my mic real quick, sorry about that. Yeah, Black Orcs will absolutely wreck them, including the Halberds. Halberds have even less melee defense, so they will just get absolutely chewed to pieces. Now, granted, there are no Black Orcs here, but still, this is a risky pick against the Greenskins. Definitely don't want to stand and bang infantry with them, but instead probably invest in more mobile units. Like, obviously, if you take out the Chosen with Halberds, you could replace them with, well, maybe upgrade one of these Exalted Heroes to a caster first and foremost. And then maybe, like, just cut all of the Chosen and bring a bunch of Marauder Horsemen, maybe, some Chariots, perhaps, or even some Chaos Knights, especially the Sword and Shield Chaos Knights are very strong. But here we've got nice engagement in the front line. All the Goblins just getting eaten by Marauders, but it's pretty cost-effective for the Goblins. At the same time, you see where the RNG, you kind of get to see a nice RNG test here, where got a nice clean engagement, 4 units on 4 units. This rarely ever happens, to be honest, but you can see here in the center, the Goblins are actually getting really good RNG and winning out pretty well against those Marauders, at least for a little bit of time. They will end up losing in the long term, but still pretty decent stuff. The Trolls and the Broken Tusk Mob pushing forward here. They do need to avoid these Halberds if they can. Savage Orcs will hopefully saturate in there, but a lot of stuff being focused on Kolek at the moment. You can see the Arrow Boys throwing their probably giant arrows, I would imagine. Yeah, look at those big, thick arrows. Kolek is a big, thick target, too. Looks like we've got nice sneaky stabbing on the Savage Orcs. They're up to 60 melee attack. They are holding on to their leadership for the time being. It looks like their frenzy is still active, but once that wears off, they're probably going to get terrified pretty quickly. The Hammer of Gork, though, has just been doing absolute work on these Chosen with Halberds. Very high value unit. The Hammer of Gork is definitely paying for itself, and then some. Not to mention debuffing the stats of all these Chaos units as well. It does look like he's actually potentially spreading around the fire to these different Chosen with Halberds, and that blinded debuff is such a significant, melee attack debuff. The Trolls, this unit of Trolls, not doing too well. Other unit over on the far side, though, is doing great. We have a Wah pop a little bit late here. I probably would have liked to have seen that when the Savage Orcs first kind of came in for the counter charge after the Goblins routed. This probably would have been the most ideal timing for that, but nonetheless, we do have a lot of units engaged in melee, so it still will provide a nice melee attack timing buff all across the field. Perhaps going to get some rear charges, so yeah, the Spider Riders will get a bit of extra charge bonus, and of course the melee attack helps. We'll actually be able to saturate in here and do some good damage to these elite infantry. Well, maybe not good damage, but a bit of damage. And yeah, the 2 Manticore champions are doing okay. They have GRIM-GOO in a really bad situation, unfortunately. GRIM-GOO has been doing pretty well for the most part, but now getting singled out by these 2 flying characters, and Kolek, I'd imagine, was here as well. Kolek, I think, was the target of GRIM-GOO, though, as Kolek has been absolutely walloped and is currently running away, and you can see how quickly it turns around for that Exalted Hero. I mean, we saw how healthy he was just a minute ago. GRIM-GOO hasn't taken too many more hits, and the Exalted Hero is getting smashed. So, like, really, I don't feel that there's that much that CA would need to do to fix GRIM-GOO. He's pretty decent right now. The Manticores are definitely making a big mistake here in not trying to cycle charge GRIM-GOO, but at the same time, obviously, the Greenskin player here doing a great job with these Broken Tusk Mob, keeping the Exalted Heroes pinned on the ground, and this one is pretty much done for. That is quite impressive. Meanwhile, over here, we've still got this very healthy force of trolls, spiders, goblins, savage orcs, just all absolutely circle beating these Chosen, currently in the shadow of the great golden... Oh no, that's just the mountain. Yeah, these Chosen men, talk about an absolute circle beating. All kinds of things just beating them down. They're still holding out, though, and that kind of shows you how powerful Chosen are. If you have a look back over here, though, GRIM-GOO is meeting his fate at the hands of Kolek. Kolek is also very, very weak, currently just chomping goblins. But the Manticore champion, unfortunately, the Exalted Hero here is going to be able to get back up in the air and probably see GRIM-GOO off here. Oh, no, he may go after the Hammer of Gork. Yes. Looks like he might try and get rid of the crew. Better late than never, I suppose. They do still have 3 volleys left. They've been able to generate a ton of value already, but having these Spider Riders out in the periphery as well to kind of chase routing units will be quite nice. Charging these Marauders, charge these Halberds before they get braced potentially. It's quite good stuff. I'm a big fan of Spider Riders, as you guys hopefully know. But the Exalted Hero, yeah, he might get charged a little bit here. This is actually a very dangerous situation because of the Trolls. The Trolls could carry this. I mean, the balance of power right now, it's definitely in the Greenskins' favor, but the fact that the Warriors of Chaos still have Kolek here, they still have this Manticore alive, at least for the time being. The Spider Riders are able to get some poison, but they do get terrified away, and the Trolls come in, get some solid damage on that Exalted Hero. These Trolls, also 9 unit models still. They still are regenerating quite a bit of HP, so even if the Chaos player does what he should do, which is what he's doing right now, kind of cut his mobile units around and try and isolate any of these weaker targets. I mean, I say weaker. Savage Orc Airboys do have pretty good offensive stats. They're very weak on defense, but they can do some return damage. Even just a couple hits here by a handful of models could rout Kolek or one of the Exalted Heroes, but at the same time, they also don't have the best leadership. Pretty squishy defensive stats means they're easily terrified once that frenzy gets broken. But here come the Trolls. Don't worry, the Trolls are coming down the hill. I don't think I'm ever going to say that sentence again in my life. Please kill me if I do. They're definitely puking down the hill, though, and kicking and stomping and smashing all the Manticores in the face. One of them runs away because he doesn't like Trolls, and the other one definitely also doesn't like Trolls because he's running away. So the Trolls turn their attention to the Chosen and say, "Here, smell my feet. Can I get my toe in that silly face mask? Let's see." I love Trolls, man. They're such silly units, to be honest. I wish they were a little bit better, but here they're being used because they were kind of fighting in a kind of isolated pocket in a reserve for a while. They were able to retain a lot of their HP and just regenerate through long fights, kind of grind down some Chosen with support. And now coming in, finishing off a couple high-value targets and also finishing off some Chosen here. There still is this one group of shielded Chosen that's very, very healthy. I could say very, very, a little more than halfway. But Chosen with Halberds are definitely done for. Kolek might come back, but he's not long for this world. Trolls, drunk on success, charge up the hill. And, yeah, unfortunately isolated like this without support against Chosen. I mean, the Savage Orcs are also going to charge in. But because they kind of start getting surrounded by the Chosen are getting hits in, and once the charge bonus wears off, I mean, 34 attack versus 61 defense on these Chosen who have gained a rank, up to 119 kills, 120 kills on climbing. Yeah, unfortunately, the Trolls' glory run kind of gives up there, and they're going to run away. Hopefully, they'll regenerate and come back, but for the time being, it's going to be left to the Savage Orc Airboys that remain. A few Savage Orcs as well, helping to fight off the Chosen here, so the Green Boys in loincloths making their last stand. Their bone choppas, their bows, covered in war paint head to toe. And Savage Orcs are so cool too. These guys are so ripped. Like absolutely yoked, as they say. Kolek's just like, no, I can't fight those guys. The paint's too intimidating. He runs away. Savage Orcs manage to rout those Chosen with Halberds. And, yeah, there's a handful more Chosen here. We'll probably fast forward through the late game, but I tend not to cast games where people don't bring a caster, unless they're pretty close, like this one is. It's honestly a pretty good game, and I do feel that if the Chaos player just changed up this build a little bit, I mean, I do think, actually, the Shielded Chosen, as much as I was saying they're risky earlier, against Black Orcs, once Black Orcs' Wa wears off, or if they don't have any melee attack buffs, Black Orcs actually will struggle to make consistent contact with the Chosen because of their high melee defense. I mean, granted, the Chosen won't do a lot of damage on the hit back against the Black Orcs because of their armor, but the Chosen will be getting a lot more consistent hits back, and we'll take a look at that specific situation in just a second. But big thanks to Bassos for sending that one in. Love this nice wide build here. GRIM-GOO meeting his fate there, unfortunately, but man, that Hammer of Gork, definitely a very solid carry there. Excellent play with the Broken Tusk mob as well, trying to keep them kind of mirroring the Exalted Heroes whenever they come down to the ground, which is exactly what you want to do when you have some shock cavalry, especially good anti-large armor piercing shock cavalry against those flying monsters. Just keep them in a mirror and countercharge once they get on the ground. Kolek racking up 82 kills, 71 for the Exalted Hero on the Manticore, so you see how powerful they are. I mean, you just need a caster. You need a caster. Chaos is magic, right? And magic is chaos. So absolutely just drop one of these Chosen. I'd say definitely drop the Chosen with halberds. And if you are going to bring the shielded Chosen here and you want to even out the fight against Black Orcs a little bit more, you can bring Lore of Metal. If we have a look here, Lore of Metal is just generally a really strong lore. Has a lot of really good spells. So like in this situation, with Kolek, definitely like the 3 shielded Chosen. Yeah, the dude on the Manticore probably with nothing just to make him as cheap as possible. And then we're also going to bring Metal Sorcerer on a Manticore. He's going to have Searing Doom, Plague of Rust, and I'm going to bring Transmutation of Lead here. You could bring Final Transmutation. There's definitely an argument to be made for trying to get Greenskin casters or casting this like on blobs of Greenskin cavalry is probably not super likely. Maybe you'll see like a troll blob. I don't know. For me, I would think using this Transmutation of Lead kind of tactically, when WA is activated, you use this to counter it in a specific area, like wherever these Chosen with halberds, if they get matched up against Black Orcs or like a Giant or something else that has a lot of attack and very good armor piercing damage, then you kind of use this Transmutation of Lead, especially tactically, again, countering WA specifically in a local area, can be very strong in that way, so I definitely recommend that. He's already pretty expensive, so I don't know if we'll bring the Scroll of Shielding here, but probably grab a few Marauders as well. The rest of the build, you can kind of do whatever, honestly, at this point. You've got 3 monsters and some infantry, some very tanky infantry, so basically the win condition is just to protect the Chosen, and, you know, then win with the monsters kind of on top of the Chosen, right? So to that end, I'm going to bring some mobile supporting units to kind of run around and try and dissuade Greenskins light cavalry from getting too close. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I would actually cut one of these Chosen down to the Mirror Guard, because it's basically like a demi-Chosen. Not quite as strong in terms of stats, but they do have immune to psychology, and they are a little bit cheaper. Will then allow us to come in here and maybe get like a second unit of Warhounds, and buy some Chevrons. We could get maybe just more Marauder Horsemen. Go with 4 Marauder Horsemen like this. That's not too bad. These guys match up. If WA's not active, they'll match up okay against even things like Spider Riders. I mean, you don't want to necessarily just charge them directly, obviously, but since you do have these mobile monsters, you could maybe keep this Exalted Hero kind of supporting this Marauder Horseman force. Likewise, this gives you options against an Arachnarok Queen. If you come up against an Arachnarok Spider or a Queen, you can use this Overcast Plague of Rust, minus 60 armor to go all in on the Javelins. Again, if the Exalted Hero is trying to goon someone, you can use that Plague of Rust to increase his killing power. Searing Doom can not only disrupt, but it's also really good against all Greenskins cavalry, because none of them have really good armor. Even the ones with 90 armor, like Searing Doom's just really underrated against cavalry, and like any kind of boars, or even obviously Spider Riders. Just a nice, cheap, cost-effective damage spell. I'm a big fan. So a little bit of a long-winded kind of post-build, but I know some of you are big fans of that, so hopefully you enjoy that. If you do like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button, so every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.